walked in and looked my way. With just a glance, yeah, I was sold. My head in disarray. How are ya? How's your night been gone? I said, I'm not that type of guy, you know. But why don't we talk? Yeah, let me buy you a drink. And then she kissed my face, yeah. I'm falling. I was all in. Now I'm running to survive. You got me in overdrive. I'm running, yeah, you've done it. I'm running so fast, you love it. I hope this day it never ends now. The pretty face has got me in overdrive. After she had me in her grips, then she let go and tossed me in. Just like a shirt into the wash. We'll never know what could have been. I want another chance to prove that I could be the one for you. How could you make me feel so good and then do those evil things you do now?
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I think we're going to have a really good show today as we work through the cattle. I thought we started the day off right with our national anthem and words from our gentlemen up there in the stands. Thank you all for everything that y'all do and being here today. It's a pleasure to have y'all. And I think as we think about this weekend, I know a lot of us enjoy the luxury of a really nice show barn and showing cattle. But I hope throughout the next couple days and today as we enjoy our time with our family, we think about what it means to have the freedom to be up here and doing what we enjoy so much. And so I hope as a family, everyone going home to reflect on some of those. All righty, we got to figure it out now. As we started in class number 1 here of our bull show, The young lady with the bigger December-born bull calf is going to be our class winner. I like how that guy has just a shot more muscle and power built into him. You study him down as topsider from behind. He's a muscular kind of bull prospect, and whenever you study him in motion, you have to really like the setting. The used to his hot, a sound, functional, very good kind of bull calf there that I think just reads a bit more massive and rugged in his appearance today. Young lady's bull calf that we have coming out next. You have to really like that one's extension, length, and levelness. A really good profiling calf that you have to like whenever you study him from the side. Today compared to his counterpart, I know he's given up a couple of months. He just doesn't read as quite as stout or quite as muscular in the way he's put together, but a nice pair of bulls. Congratulations to both young ladies.
Here on the inside, we're beginning with the American Steer Show. Class 4 American Steers are in the ring. All other American Steer exhibitors will be standing by. I just want to stay right behind your play a little bit better than the captain there. The captain there
Over here in Ring B, as we get started in our second class of our American Bull Show, we definitely have cattle that represent different breeds. The young lady's Red Bull there in the middle of the September-born bull calf there, I think is one that's really nice. Whenever you just study him from a functionality standpoint, I love his combination of a really good set of feet and legs. I think he's cleaner in his hop joint. That is our third place bull. And then in relation to his frame size, I love the rib shape that guy has. You get up and you study him. He's really bold in his upper rib, takes a really good turn down there through his forward and lower body. I think that bull's just functionality, balance, and presence position him as our class winner this morning. Some give and take in our bulls in second and third. I went ahead and used the Great Brahman bull in second. I thought whenever we study the cattle and we ask him to make a circle, this one is one that's just a bit better whenever we study the way his feet and legs work. I like the reach that he has out of his hop. He reads a bit better there whenever we just study his joint work as well. I know in relation to his contemporaries today, he's a little bit bigger framed, and I wish I could modify and just amplify, if you will, his forward shape, his entire center body, because in relation to his frame size, he reads just a little bit flatter rib, but I like that guy's look and his skeleton. I think with time, that Great Brahman bull is going to be really nice. We do have a more moderate, more powerful black space bull coming out in third. I think this Simbra bull prospect is one you have to really like from a muscularity standpoint. He reads masculine and rugged in regards to his herd sire feature up front. At the same time, I probably get a little bit critical on structure sometimes, but I would make him just a little bit cleaner there in his hop joints, a little bit coarser there. And then when we ask him to lead, he wants to be just a little bit shorter stepping. And so I modify his structure just a bit, but I love that guy's levelness, and I really like the power that he offers. I just make him a little bit different the way he gets out and goes. But a nice class once again. If we are ringside, let's put our hands together for those three exhibitors as they head back to the barn.
Show steers and works closely with young exhibitors, teaching evaluation and management. His biggest passion is working with his 4-H livestock driven team and helping families with their show livestock. We're certainly glad to have Tyler with us here today and bringing his expertise to the show ring. Thank you for coming out and joining us, Tyler.
Well, we have a really good pair of bulls here in Ring B. Young ladies bring this bull is going to be our class winner, and that one walked in. I said, hey, we got a pretty good one in here, and whenever we study just the way he's put together, I think that bull reads very correct from a skeletal standpoint. I think the Beefmaster bull in second does as well. But as you build upon that, I love his moderation, his body mass. I really like how both sprung he is. He has a great spring to his rib. At the same time, when you get up and you study him, he has the advantage out of his pin set in terms of just dimension and muscle. And then you stand off from the side. I think everything blends together and balances extremely well. I think a very high quality bull here to win class number 3. In second, we have a Beefmaster bull that the young man said is 15 months and already in production. I think that young man has a really good bull prospect there. And I really like this bull whenever you study him in motion. He's a long striding, very good structured bull that I think reads very dependable whenever you think about his long-term use. I love those things about him. Long and level out of his hip, a really good set and used to his hop. Today, compared to our Brangus bull, maybe not quite as overwhelming in the shape of rib that he has, maybe not quite as just dimensional when you get behind him or on top of him, but I think as an individual, this Red Beefmaster bull is very good, and this young man has a really nice one to be second. A really good pair of bulls. My compliments to both young people.
At this time, we're bringing our class-winning American bull for selection and the American Division Champion. Once again, we'd like to thank Eaton Dirt Construction and Solid Rock Custom Home sponsoring the Bull Show today. as our judge evaluates for American As our judge evaluates for American Division Champion Bowl, we'd like to take this opportunity to introduce him. Mr. Quez Newberry is judging in Ring B today. He grew up in George West, Texas on his family's diversified livestock operation, which sparked his interest in the livestock industry and led him down the path of 4-H and FFA. After the completion of high school, Newberry attended Glenn College and Texas A&M University, where he was a member of a highly competitive livestock judging team at both schools. In addition to judging multiple county and regional shows across the country, Newberry's had the opportunity to step in the ring at the Calgary Stampede, the State Fair of Texas, the San Antonio Livestock Show, the Louisiana State Fair, and the National Western Stock Show. He graduated with a master's degree in ruminant nutrition from Texas A&M and is currently a professor and livestock judging coach at Glenn College. Certainly glad to have him with us here today.
As we get out here in our American Bull Drive, our oldest bull joins the lineup for the first time. Young lady brings us a Santa Gertrudis bull that you have to really like whenever you study Mountainous. He's a rugged, very masculine bull whenever you study him, just from a sire standpoint. At the same time, you have to like the way for a big, more mature bull, he gets out and handles himself going around the ring. And so I think that's a bull that comes in the lineup that you can really like some things about. As we work through our 4 classes, I think we have a group of bulls out here that can definitely do the job for these young people back in their operations, and I think they offer a lot of good. At the same time, I think there's one that whenever we study the lineup, I just gravitate to in regards to having the basics covered in regards to function and use, and at the same time being just a very high quality, very good balanced individual today as well. Young ladies, bring us forward to class number 3. He's going to be our champion American. Congratulations to her.
Congratulations to Sydney Morrell, our champion American bull today. We'll pull in Brayton Robertson for selection of reserve.
As we get out here for reserve honors, I do think a judge could send out here and make a claim for any of these 3 bulls to go ahead and be reserved. To discuss them briefly one more time, that January-born bull calf out of our first class, that thing offers so much future, as he talked about just the way he's constructed, the angles of his skeleton, the way it sacks on the right, kind of just rib very good whenever you study him. I thought that Red Bull came out of a very interesting, very contrasting group of cattle there out of our second class. I like how he keeps the theme of functionality, yet at the same time does it with a really good profile. You step in and you study him for a bull that's not quite a year of age yet. I really like the muscularity that he offers from behind. He's big out of his hip, but I do think whenever you stand back and you study this group of cattle, he's the one that really gives you a really powerful, dimensional look at the same time. Like we mentioned, our oldest bull, you have to like that one's length of stride. He's a big-bodied, really good, fleshy kind of bull. I think that one could definitely do a lot of good for that young lady back in her operation. You study him and you like his length of stride and his body depth and shape. And then I guess from behind, I wish I could make him just a little bit more dimensional, maybe make him just a little bit heavier muscle in that viewpoint, but really like how he's a bit more, I guess you could say, further along in terms of just his body depth and back to his flank than some of our younger cattle. I stand back and I say the lineup. My second favorite bull is going to be our red bull in the middle out of class number 2. Congratulations to her. She'll have our reserve champion American.
Congratulations to Mackenzie Lowe, our reserve champion American bull. Exotic bull exhibitors, you need to be standing by. We have all single entries in the exotic bull division, so we'll bring them all in at the same time for the exotic division drive.
We have a single entry here in our Angus Bull Show. Young lady brings us a young April bull calf, and we were discussing some of his positive attributes. You have to really like that bull's look. He's an extended, level-made bull. I really like the way his hips constructed. His couple head legs in there really nicely as well. When we talked just a little bit, I think this bull is so good in regards to relation to his maturity and being a young bull prospect like he is. Everything matches. I think his frame size in relation to his spring of rib and depth of body, everything fits together. I think a bull that's long striding and good at the way his feet and legs work, without a doubt. A really nice single entry here, if you will. Let's put our hands together for this young lady with her Angus bull out here this morning.
Congratulations to our Class 1 English Bull single entry, Lainey Stevens. Exotic bull exhibitors, begin making your way. We'd also like to remind everyone we have some great vendors that are here with us today. Sharpening USA is set up here in the show ring. Go by and see Angie, get your blades sharpened. She'll be here with us today and can get you taken care of before the mad rush this fall. Sullivan Supplies also set up here in the show ring and is available for all your show supply needs. Just outside the show ring, we have Trackley Mercantile and Feed, and they're set up with some T-shirts as well as feed and supplements. Go by and see them as well.
As we study the group of cattle we have here in Ring B, we're going to go ahead and lead off with the young man's Angus bull. I think some words that describe him are moderate, very flexible. I think a bull that just offers best combination of durability and function with still having some muscle and some rib to him. I think this class is difficult because depending on where you place your priorities, you can go some different ways, and I say things very transparently. This bull probably gives up a little bit of shape and dimension from behind compared to either of the bulls that are going to be in second and third. But when we talk about trying to add up the most positives, I like his structure. He's a long striding bull that really reaches good off of his rear too. He maybe gets just a little bit off in his spine because he reaches so far underneath. But I like that bull directly behind his shoulder. His boldness forward and blends together really nicely. That's the one, the longer I study him, I become very comfortable using. The next two bulls are the ones that I keep studying, and I think there's a lot of give and take. The Hereford bull, in my opinion, is just a little bit more my type and kind. I know naturally he's not quite as good about the base of his chest or as extended as our Shorthorn bull, but whenever you study the way he's constructed on his feet and legs, I think he's very, very good. I like how he naturally reads to be just a little bit easier fleshing and better doing in regards to his body shape and depth. Like I said, though, he probably gives up the most from a balance and a look standpoint when I stand off afar, but I like his functionality and I like the type of cattle that he represents. Nothing to take away from our Shorthorn bull in third, because I think where he's the best in the entire class. Extremely good from a look standpoint. I love the sharpness of his lines. He's extended. He's dead level down his top and out of his hip. with that being said, I wish I could pull him down in his flank just a bit. And then as we compare him to some of the other bulls, there's times where he wants to get just a little bit more opened up about his shoulder. But I know we have a more attractive, better balanced option here in third versus one that I think just reads really good from a body and structure standpoint. A lot of give and take. I don't think there's a bad bull in this class. Definitely one that was a little bit difficult getting a placing on. If you would, let's give all three of these young men a really nice round of applause. A really good set of cattle here in Ring B. Well, if you are around Ring B, we have a really nice pair of Hereford bulls to evaluate and to study. I'm going to go and use young lady's bull at the front of the lineup to be our class winner. I do think they're a little bit different in what they bring to the table and what they offer to the group. And whenever we talk about our class winner, I feel like this bull is one that just hits me awfully hard from a presence standpoint, one that's very freshly presented today. And I know that doesn't matter once we take their show halters off, but as we do study him today, I do think that one comes out here and really offers a look that I like and that I keep coming back to. And then as you study the bulls, I do think compositionally there's some differences. Our class winner's one that reads really, I guess you could say, show ready from a condition standpoint. That allows everything to blend together really nicely. I personally like the shape and the turn that he has in his upper rib. I like as you study him from his shoulder and work him back, everything just fits together. He's a smooth bayed bull whose structure reads very good. I think that bull just becomes the one that goes ahead and wins this class for being the one that just ties things together really, really nicely, yet still handles it good from a feet and leg standpoint. I say those things because our bull in second is one that I don't know, maybe he's already been in his working clothes and doing his job. And as we study him, you have to love his structure. If you study him at the ground, he's great in terms of size and shape. I like the way he gets out and walks. I think that bull can add some length of body and keep feet and legs in check whenever we think about what he could do for his calf crop. Compared to our class winner today, that bull doesn't have quite the same just forward and depth in regards to his center body. His chest maybe has fallen out of him just a bit from a balance and an aesthetic standpoint. And then from behind, I'd make him a little bit wider and more dimensional. But I absolutely love the way that bull's put together from a structural standpoint. As the young man puts him in motion, study the reach and the range of motion that he has. Really good feet there at the ground. I think a nice pair of bulls. Congratulations to both of those young people doing a great job.
I'd like to let everybody know today that we have Jeffrey's Livestock Marketing with us, live streaming our show. Certainly glad to have them here. And if you have someone that can't join us in person, or if you just want to go back and watch film later, you can find it on their Facebook page, Jeffrey's Livestock Marketing. You can also find it on their YouTube channel or on their website at www.jeffreyslivestockmarketing.com.
As we get into our next division here, our bull show, and we study our British lineup that we have, we started off there with our very young Angus bull calf, and we discussed that one's look. It reads very, very good. I think that bull reads very promising as we would continue to watch him mature. I think that bull has the right parts and pieces out here. and I know he's in the lineup with some older cattle, but I think that one offers worlds of good. I think that young lady has a really nice one there started on her show string. And as we studied that Angus bull, I just mentioned, I thought that class was extremely challenging. That was a bull that I just kept coming back to. I think he's a bull that whenever you start thinking about positives, he's one that has a lot to him. I think that bull in his group of cattle, in that group of 3 that we had there in our second class, was the one that just kind of, I guess you could say, became the one that needed a win in regards to structure, look, and the way he ties everything together. Our oldest class, the pair of Hereford bulls that we had, our dark red bull there at the back of the lineup was our class winner. And like I mentioned, I thought that one looked like he came to a bull show today. I think he's very fresh for being an older, more mature bull. But whenever you study the parts that we need in our bull prospects, I think he's a big-footed, really durably built kind of sire prospect there that's put together nicely. I like how his rib shape and muscle, everything fits. He's never out there anywhere, maybe blows you away. But I think that bull's one whenever you set him in motion. He knows his top line and the top side of his hip and pin set really nice. I think that's a really nice bull there. Young ladies, Hereford out of class number 3 is going to be our champion in British today. Congratulations to her. We can get our second place back in the ring.
Congratulations to Lila Seymour, our champion English. We'll bring in Leighton Terrell for contingent of reserve. Exotic bull exhibitors, we need you standing by, please. All exotic bull exhibitors.
I really enjoy sorting and being able to evaluate breeding cattle, and I say those things because as we get back here in the lineup, I think all 3 of these bulls have things that you can like. And as we think about the bull that's coming in second, we talked about how that one's just so good structured. He's a long-bodied bull, and I think it's important that we keep the right length of body in our cattle. And I say those things because as we think about what I guess me and my dad enjoy doing back home, we put our Hereford bull on our Brangus replacements, and we really like what we get out of those things. And I say that because we were bull searching. I think that bull has the parts and pieces that can definitely satisfy producers like myself and my father. And then we talk about our Angus bull when we think about maybe keeping a pair of cattle together that maybe fit a certain mold. And I think that bull is just a combination of having the functionality and just overall dimension, yet still having a really good look to him. Follows more in line with our division champion. Our Angus bull at class number 2 is going to be our reserve. Congratulations to that young man.
Congratulations to Case Wilson, our reserve champion English bull. This time we'll bring all of our exotic bulls to the ring. All of our exotic bulls were single entry, so this will serve as our exotic division drive.
As we get into our exotic bull lineup, we have a group of cattle that represent single entry, so we'll discuss them before we get us a champion in reserve. Our little guy there at the front of the lineup, about 3 months old, we said, a 3-month-old bull calf. I think one that whenever you study him, he's plenty green and immature right now, but I think he has the right kind of skeleton and look, an extended level made calf there that you have to really like the way he gets out and travels. For his age, I think that bull has a really good just depth of body. I think as we compare him to our cattle and we think about age and everything that we have to maybe go back and forth on, I'd like to see him maybe just a little bit stouter, more powerful today, but his look and skeleton's really good, and so I think that one's future reads really nicely, but he'll represent our Charolais division out here in our exotic lineup. Our 3/4 blood Sydney in the middle of the lineup is a very striking, very high quality bull. Whenever you study him there at the standstill, the entire day so far, I've talked about structural correctness. I think that one's soaked to his shoulder and knee, and the way his hock, pastern, and roof foot's constructed not only allows him to stop and give you a look of quality, but whenever you study him in motion, that bull stays the most collected over his loin and down his spine. I think that bull is really good. Angles down low allow him to stop with that look that's just very intriguing. You get in and you study him, and I think for an October-born bull calf, that one's still loaded with power and dimension. I think a very high-quality one there to represent that class there in the middle of the lineup. Our scimitar bull at the conclusion of the group is one that whenever you think about power and mass and dimension, I think he has those things. He's really big out of his upper hip, really dimensional and powerful in what he offers out here. And I like for the way he is constructed and from a power and a mass standpoint, he still gets out and covers his track and does what he needs to. Every once in a while, though, he'll want to maybe roach up in his spine and not stay quite as comfortable down his top line. But I think that's me being pretty greedy as a show judge, because I do think his length of stride for being a big, powerful, massive kind of bull is good. And so as we study this lineup, I've discussed the cattle. I think they're awfully nice. Our champion is going to be the bull here in the middle. Our reserve is going to be the solid black scimitar bull at the back of the lineup. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
At this time, we'll bring our American Division champion, Sydney Morrell, our English Division champion, Lila Seymour, and our Exotic Division champion, Paisley Siemens. We'll have these three bulls in the ring for selection, Grand Champion Bull. Once again, we'd like to thank Carnes Packaging for being our title sponsor of the Red, White, and Moose Showdown this year. Our Bull Show sponsors, Eaton Dirt Construction and Solid Rock Custom Homes. Certainly appreciate all of our sponsors. No, the show wouldn't be possible without them. Again, we'd like to remind all of our division champions, reserve division champions, and higher throughout the day. Please go to the backdrop and get your picture made. We want to have those pictures for our sponsors. Certainly want to make sure we thank them in that way. So please go to the backdrop and get your picture made if you place as a division champion, reserve division champion, or higher.
As we conclude our bull show and get our 3 division winners back out here, I'm extremely pleased with the bulls that we had come through Ring B up to this point, and hope if you're ringside you can study the cattle and you can see the good that I see in them. And as we've worked through our different classes and through our divisions, we get here towards the end, and I think we have 3 really nice cattle. As we study our American winner, I think that Brangus bull's one that whenever he came into class, I liked a lot of things about him. I think that bull fits me awfully good when we talk about just moderate, functional, powerfully made cattle that do all the basics, and yet still, whenever we stand off the side and we study him, I think that bull's one that's awfully nice. And I think about the jobs that he could do for a guy that's looking to maybe have some Brangus show heifers or put him just on commercial type cows. That bull was one that can really get a lot of things done. I think he's really good, like I said, and just covering the basics, yet still looking like a show bull when we put him in the show ring today. As we study our British champion. That's one that whenever we just talk about dependability and long-term use, I like that Hereford Bull's skeleton. I think he's a moderate, once again, big-bodied bull that just everything really matched and fit whenever you talk about the way he's put together. I like his functionality and doability. Like I mentioned back in that class, we like running our Hereford bulls on our Brangus cows back home, and I think that bull would fit right in line with what we like to do, making easy keeping kind of daughters, and I think he, once again, won that British division for being the show bull of the pair, yet still having those fundamentals of stoutness and some ruggedness to him. As we get back out here and we study our just named champion exotic bull, I think that October born bull offers such a...
Watch the gates, loose calf. Watch the gates, please.
Offers a lot of good, has a lot of promise built into him as we talk about him, and I'm not trying to sound negative amongst maybe some of his counterparts back in the semi world, but to brag upon his strong suits, his feet and legs are great. I love the cushion that he has whenever you study his posture and his range of motion, and everything's very, very good. I think that bull, for any of that we've seen his age today, has so much promise to him. And as we get it back out here, that's what can make it tough, because we have a group, maybe some bigger, more mature bulls. Then we have a young bull that I think has some very influential parts in the way he's put together. I think it's difficult, and I always like to be honest on the microphone, because there's two bulls that hit me awfully hard, and both of them have the vibe or have the presence of a show-winning type of bull today. The one that I just keep coming back to, and I like what he offers out here, and I think for where he is, there's not much guessing that we have to do. The young lady's Brangus bull is going to be our champion. Congratulations to her.
Congratulations to Sydney Morrell from the American division with our grand champion bull. We'll bring in Mackenzie Lowe for contention and reserve.
As we bring in our reserve American bull, we discussed how that bull amongst his contemporaries in that lineup in relation to his size and age was one that was very dimensional. I like that guy's muscle pattern and just overall flexibility. Like I alluded to, and sometimes I get ahead of myself just a bit, but I did think that there was two bulls, that they're different, but awfully nice. We're going to follow it up with the young lady's exotic bull for reserve. Congratulations to her, an extremely good October bull calf to be reserved.
Congratulations to our reserve champion bull exhibitor, Paisley Siemens from the exotic division. Just a reminder, please go to the backdrop and have your pictures made. And as we conclude our bull show, once again want to thank Eaton Dirt Construction and Solid Rock Custom Homes for sponsoring the bull show here today. in the ring here, we're going to select a third overall.
As we get out here for our third overall bull selection, once again, as I mentioned for reserve honors, you could probably, make a claim at any of the bulls to go ahead and get reserve, and you get back out here for third overall. And I think now in the lineup we have some cattle that are very different in what they bring to the table. And just to discuss them before we get us to third overall, we talked about this young Beefmaster bull today about just being so sound, structured, so good whenever we study his parts and pieces, and I like the way he gets out and travels, and I think he's always going to be a long-striding, very flexible bull for that young lady. We've talked about a Hereford several times. I do like that bull's quality out here. I think that bull really very good whenever we study him compared to those older bulls that he had to go up against. As I mentioned, that bull's probably in show shape, meaning that some of those bulls back in his class probably had their working clothes on, but whenever we study him in the ring today, I really like his joint work. I like how he's a heavy structured bull, and think he reads very good whenever you study his foot size and shape and the way he gets out and travels. Our reserve exotic bull is one that you have to love from a power standpoint. He's a dimensional, thick-ended, really, really massive bull whenever you study him. And I think for his age, that bull reads to be one that's going to continue to progress with the right kind of power pieces, and I like those things about him. So, as we get back out here to discuss them as transparently as possible, there's probably just a little bit more guesswork to go in it. Reserve champion American bull, our reserve champion exotic bull is one that I do wish we could make him just a little bit better. Whenever we set him in motion, he'll kind of get up in his spine and maybe doesn't handle everything quite as attractively. And I come back and I keep gravitating to a certain bull in the lineup. Young lady's Hereford bull is going to be our third overall. Congratulations to her.
As we begin the steer show in Ring B, we'd like to recognize our sponsors. East Texas Homes and Land, Heather Evans. Certainly appreciate them sponsoring the Ring B steer show today here at the Red, White, and Mooo Showdown. We'd also like to thank Carnes Packaging again for being our title sponsor. Our buckle sponsors today include Vera Bank, Beach Farms, Morellis Fencing, American State Bank, Triple E Cattle, Carmela Hawkins with Texas Farm Bureau, Bozeman Insurance, Pool Farms, BCR Cedar Fiber, Lloyd Timber, TL Cattle Company, Lake Country Animal Clinic, Dias Processing, Tejas Customs, H3 Cattle, Bryan Cattle Company, and Lindsay Farms. Big thank you to our buckle sponsors today. If you have an American steer, you need to be standing ringside. American steers, Class 2, Carson Yvette in case fails. In Class 3, Colton Niegbauer. We're going to have a snappy show today. We need all of our exhibitors ready to roll.
A great way to get our steer show started here in Ring B. And our first class of Americans, young ladies, black and white steer, is going to be our class winner. I like how this calf really comes together with a nice look on the profile, an extended level made steer, but more importantly, whenever you study the cattle from behind and you read the dimension and the muscularity they have down their top and from behind, this calf undoubtedly is bigger and is pin set and more dimensional in those viewpoints. And I like whenever you step off from the side, for being the powerful calf of the lineup, his shoulder, knee, and front end assembly from a skeletal standpoint, I think slayed into him extremely good. I think a nice calf here to lead things off. The calf we have in second, whenever we ask the cattle to lead and go in motion, I do like the way he sits down on his rear foot in pasture. Class winner maybe gets just a little bit tighter there every once in a while. The calf is really good there, and I wanted to brag on him in those standpoints. A good-footed, sound structured, nice built calf here that when we compare him to our class winner, maybe not quite as far along from a muscularity standpoint, not the same just overwhelming dimension and shape today, but I like his levelness, and I think he has a really good build whenever you study him there at the ground. We conclude with a really striking steer, extended, level-made, good profiling calf. I really like the way he studies from afar. When we get up and we study him closer, I think that calf just becomes the flatter one from behind today that we need to make a little bit more dimensional through his twist and lower quarter. But that steer's structure and look is very good. Just today, it's a little bit greener, maybe not quite as far along. But a nice class once again. Great way to get the show started.
Results from Class 1 American Steers. First place, Cassie Nutt, Shelby County. Second place, Angela Moyer of Longview. And third place, Case Fales of Sulphur Springs. Congratulations to our Class 1 steer exhibitors. Now coming to the show ring, Class 2 American Steers.
In our second class of our American Steer Show, the young man's black and white steer at the front of the lineup is going to win. I think this calf is just built stouter from the ground up. I think he has just a bit more substance whenever you study him. And then from a muscle standpoint, this calf is one that you have to really like whenever you study him out of his spin set. He's a dimensional, very powerfully made steer to go ahead and win this class. And I like how he does that and handles everything really nice whenever we study the way it gets out and travels. And so from a pure just mass and power and stoutness standpoint, he positions himself as our winner today. Our second place calf is better whenever you study the smoothness of the front side of his shoulder. He's a calf that you have to really like whenever you study how he's just very good in the way he blends his shoulder into his body there, in a calf that reads to be a big-bodied calf. It's going to be very easy feeding whenever we think about his time on the show string. I think that one's going to be one that's going to be very good at converting feed to finish and very sound structured. Just see more muscle and just more stoutness to him today. A good class once again. Both young men doing a nice job with a good pair of cattle.
Results from Class 2 American Steers. First place, Carson Yvette. Second place, Case Fales.
nice job creating here, and I think our class winner kind of puts all the pieces together. That we're ready to show over the unity bottom, like super square. I love the way we got to back and pass around. Big man that said, maybe one day we'll make a better teammate, and we'll be able to do those things that here's the thing in the second, better than something for me. I think the demo tab is still pretty better in the way we handle the system and level especially. The people have taken down quite a bit more comfortable with the travels. I think the 20 square, the muscular, very easy made here. I think we've got a lot of good ways and very great future. So we have like behind the stouter, in terms of the back step, I think we'll be further along in the period. Maybe for me, I think we were several this guy was a little more comfortable there to get off the pass. I think they'll be good after that. The next three years are all big out, but that's the way they're putting together. Their skeleton, the young ladies there, we want those flexibility of breathing. Getting out and to go, we've got a lot of length to very attractive runners. The next two cattle are very muscular and stable in terms of their time. Cattle quickly to settle with more flexibility. They want to get the upright off of their skeleton. They're good muscular carrying out their speed levels.
Had some questions about showmanship. We will be having showmanship today after we conclude the cattle show. So that'll be the last thing we do today.
another opportunity of the series. I think the last year just phase that we had. I think your team obviously great thing up with the good on with the good. They got other kids. Maybe quickly he's not quite as fast as the runner with some of them. But he got an awfully good series to be very competitive later on. The young ladies did that spot. The right shoulder kicks on. I'm not sure if he was calling on sound, but I think the move's fine. It's pretty much a little upright. Certainly, want to be a little too straight there. We got the wide square, no punch. It's really cool to look up the side. Hopefully, it'll settle down to one to make a better teammate. He's going to be a better teammate. Next week, we're kind of hard to sort. The race here, we've got a little more food today. We can make your body more muscular with that. There's most of the food well, and most of the things like the assembled inside. You get there maybe more of it. The black and white is very, very stout, friendly, easy, and friendly muscle. It's a little tight there. It's hard. I want to tighten that up for the chest too, to make it play that. Here's the next spot. Very, very natural. I like how it's square built. Good muscle, very good. It's going to be a good reflection in terms of the time. I got a few good look at that. It's a speed that's maybe not that loud. Young ladies have in the next spot very expressive, very muscular, very tasty. I just want to soften them up. It's got to be solution done. It's fine. Maybe a little bigger belly. I think it's better gas. I think it's good things here. I think it's good to start with. I hope it's good to game and go like it's good. The roads here to come out, probably a little small. But it's very big muscles, very big body.
At this time, we're going to move into the American Division Drive for the steer show. From Class 1, we'll bring in Cassie Nutt. From Class 2, Carson Yvette. And our Class 3 single entry, Colton Neubauer. We can get our Class 1 British. Go ahead and begin making your way to staging, please. Class 1 British steers to staging.
As we come to a conclusion here in our first division drive in our steer show, the young man brings us a single entry in the back of the lineup, a red steer that whenever you study him, you have to really like the way he gets out and travels, a long striding, sound structured steer that just reads really easy feeding in regards to his body type and just center body shape that he offers. I like his flexibility. I like his moderation and body shape. At the same time, I think that calf just reads like a calf that's going to perform well for that young man, and I think he's very deserving to be here in our Champion American lineup. We've talked about all the cattle now, and as we stand out here and we discussed our Champion American, I honestly feel like this decision's rather straightforward for me because I think there's one that really combines the right kind of look and presence with the fundamentals of just structure that's built right and the right kind of muscularity and just dimension today. Young lady out of class number 1 has our champion. Congratulations to her. Out of there, we'll get our second place back into the ring.
Congratulations to our American Division champion from Class 1, Cassie Nutt. We'll bring in our second place, Angela Moyer, for contention and reserve.
As we get our second place back to the lineup, I bragged about that calf back in class of being a really good structured, smooth-made kind of steer. And as you get back out here, I think those things are still advantages that he has. I really like how he's very smooth about the front side of his shoulder. He blends really good as you work into his forerib and into his center body. And then I like as you stand off from the side, his extension, levelness, the top line and hip allow him to balance very, very nicely. Our calf out of class number 2, I do like that guy. He's just raw muscle shape. He's extremely expressive in terms of the muscle that he has up high and from behind. Like I mentioned back in class when I discussed our second place individual, this calf maybe has just a little bit more shoulder to him, and then as you study him from the side, I don't know if that calf maybe just blends together like our class 1 calf does, but I like his muscle and like his power. Class 3, like I said, I think that's just a good doing kind of steer in regards to his feeding ability, a sound structured, very practical type of calf there to conclude the lineup. And so I think there's some give and take, and that's what makes summer prospect shows fun. I'm able to stand out here and like the cattle I like. Dr. Mackey probably did some things different, and that's what makes it fun. You get different opinions whenever you go to these summer prospect shows. My second favorite is going to be the better balanced calf out of class number 1. Congratulations to her.
Congratulations to our Reserve American Division champion, Angela Moyer of Longview. Should have all of our British Class 1 and 2 in staging, please. British Class 1 and 2. Connor Nutt, you're needed to staging. Connor Nutt.
A great way to get our British division started off here with the young ladies Hereford steer. I think whenever we studied this lineup, we have some different parts and pieces in the cattle in second and third. but this young lady's calf, I think, really ties everything together in a very complete yet still a very high quality package there to win our class. I like that calf's profile. I think whenever we study this steer, whenever you study him tracking away, I like how he's big out of his upper hip, stays really square all the way to the ground. At the same time, I think that steer's one today who's just a bit further along and a bit more progressed in terms of just the shape that he has in his upper rib. He's a good bodied calf, and I think that allows everything just to blend together and balance right. But just as importantly, I think that calf is powerful whenever you study him from a muscularity standpoint. A nice calf to go ahead and lead things off with. Young man in second has a white steer that I think is a little bit greener today, and as you study him there in his forehead, he probably reads just a little bit tighter, a little bit more pinched there. He's probably just a little bit coarser in terms of his shoulder construction and shape, but I really like the way this calf gets out and travels. He's a long striding, very flexible steer that sets down good in terms of the way he puts his rear feet to the surface. I like his profile today compared to our class winner. I don't know if he was just quite as far along in terms of his forward. Like I mentioned, I'd pull him down in his flank, and these are little things that I think with time in the proper feed program, I think that calf can be really nice. I think he's a sound structured, good profiling calf at that. We conclude with a black steer that's very good whenever we study the way he blends his parts and pieces together. He's a level-made calf that's undoubtedly smoother about the front side of his shoulder, and not as coarse as our second place steer today. He just gives up a little bit of width and dimension compared to the cattle in first and second, but I like his soundness of structure and his look from the profile. A good class, like I said. I think we're going to have a really good British show if they all follow the tone that Class 1 set.
Congratulations to our Class 1 British exhibitors. First place, Mackenzie of Collin County. Second place, Carson Yvette, Huntington. And third place, Mackenzie of Elkhart. Now coming to the show ring, Class 2 British. Class 3 and 4 to staging, please. Class 3 and 4 British steers to staging.
carry the calf directly behind you. You got to want to carry the reference pattern when we do get in stop. Calf in the second spot, I love how established this thing is and how he still gets out and covers the track very well. His flexibility and bone size, push stage is all very good. You study this calf directly behind you, you want to make it a bit stouter, a bit more width there. There's no cycle, but if you think that's an awfully good steer, maybe not in the track, it's the one ahead of it, but an awfully good way. The steer in the third spot, very, very muscular, very wide, very expressive. He's a steer that's made it. He was in one set very, very well. Just need this guy to move a bit better when he's getting out and asking to travel. He's just too far forward there in the shoulder and knee. He doesn't want to sit down with as much comfort, especially where he's out there. An awfully good set of race steers. Congratulations to those two.
I took a little bit longer here on this class as I weigh out the positives and maybe some things we could change on our second and third place steers. But from the minute the young man's short-horn calf hit the ring, I was drawn to this calf. I think this is a steer that whenever we study him in motion, he's a sound structured calf that his skeleton reads very correct in the way he uses it. And then as you work from there up, I think that calf reads really good whenever you just study how he accompanies his frame size with the right kind of body shape. I think he's a dimensional calf that profiles nicely. A nice calf to go ahead and lead things off. Look forward to seeing him back in for the British Drive. And I know the next pair of cattle are very contrasting, and I know as we turn our final view from the profile, it probably lends more to our third place steer's advantage. But I kind of just, I guess, gravitate a little bit more to the black calf whenever we start talking about from the ground up. He's a wider base calf that's applied with just a shot more skill to width. That correlates with the bolder body cavity, and then from there up, just reads a bit more dimensional from a muscle standpoint. From the profile, not quite as intriguing and dead level as our third place steer, but I do think if he would want to be a show steer for this young man today, we'd get a good look from the side also today. He's being a little bit hard-headed, but when
Results from Class 2 British. First place, Tegan Hurst, Bland FFA. Second place, Jaden Johnson, Lamar County 4-H. And third place, Sulphur Bluff. This time we'll bring Class 3 British to the show ring. Class 4, be standing by.
Each and every one of them have their strong points, and I think they're all going to be very successful later on in their career. For me, I just kind of share some comments about the young steer up front. I'm going to slow it down because he really fits the mold of the type of cattle that I like. His head carriage and neck attachment is good. The steer is sound as you can feel more, and it's very good. Everyone gets captain up with the different foundation. Academy